Why was sustained economic growth so rare before the later 18th century, and why did this change? So remember always when you're writing an essay, especially one that is really short, only about 2,000 words, you need to make sure you're constantly thinking about an essay question. And in the previous video, we looked at the different parts of the question that are important. So for example, the specific words in the question, um, like sustained, economic growth, rare, and then temporal parameters and the geographical parameters of the question as well. So as we start to look more and more into what other people have said, make sure you keep your own initial reaction and thoughts to the question in mind, because that is how you will successfully engage with other historians' work. So I think one key skill which takes time to develop, and I only became fully confident with towards the end of my degree, in fact, is the ability to have your own opinion in mind when engaging with other academics' work. And this is really important and really quite hard because, the point of history and good history writing is to convince the examiner that what you're saying is right, and to convince them that your viewpoint and your way of interpreting things is correct. And this is actually, if you go to John Locke website, one of the things that examiners recommend you think about when you're writing a question. So we're going to be firstly doing something a little bit more technical. So how on earth, with such a big question like this, do you find something to write about? And once you find something that's an interesting starting point, how do you find more and more articles and build up your base for which you can write? And I would like to caveat this by saying that, of course, you probably don't have access to many academic articles or books. And this is completely normal because academic books and articles are expensive, and this is why people end up having a subscription to these journals through their school. So they need to find ways to work around this. So most of the articles that I'm going to link are going to be free. And the first tool that we need is Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is a very powerful tool. And if I share my other screen, I'm going to type in a book that we are looking at. So A Farewell to Arms. Aha. So you can see there are several search results for this, right? And the reason why I came up with this book is because there's a free introduction to it online, which I've linked in the PowerPoint. And it's a book that has a good, interesting, and concise introduction. It is also interesting because it's been very controversial. And actually, one of the ways in which you can find starting a book like this, if you want to choose a different one other than this one, is just to Google the terms of the question and say economic growth before late 18th century and see what comes up and see what PDFs comes up, which you can open quite quickly. So all these books, for example, right? There are quite a few reviews, and you can tell how significant a book is by how often it's been cited. This is important. So cited by 3,065 people, that's going to be considerably more influential in academic terms than something like A Farewell to Arms, Thatcherism's Legacy of Inequality, which has only been cited by 12 people. So you can see from something like this that is going to have come up in a lot of debate. And you can think of historiographical debate as a bunch of historians kind of arguing with each other, and some people's books become more popular than others. So it ends up being that their book touches a nerve almost. If it's been cited by a lot of people, then it's almost like at the center of a current of historiographical debate.